Greetings and welcome to our viewers that are attending live around the world today, and also to those of you who will watch the recording later. I'm Doug Kennedy with Kennedy Training Network. Thanks again for joining us. So this is 2 years and 7 months. This would be webcast number 31. Thank you, and a shout out as always to our sponsors who who fund this webcast by giving us the money to promote it, produce it, and make it happen, and then transfer it all to our YouTube channel and our Spotify channel. A shout out to Track, a TravelNet solution, fantastic software for the vacation rental and the hotel condo rental business, including in relative to this month's topic, their CRM for reservation sales, which is available to hotels. So those of you who are resorts joining us today, check out Track Pulse, their voice CRM. It's a competitor of Revenate Navis if you're using that system. Travel Outlook, the premier hotel call center, who's been a KTN client since 2012, the only call center certified by Kennedy Training Network. That means we train all their staff in a 4-part onboarding process, but even more important, we call score them. We do 150 score calls a month. In fact, I'll end my day today here in Miami by presenting a part 4 follow-up training for their newest new hire class. So thank you. We're going to do shout outs as I look at our attendance list. We still have the meter moving, people joining us. We always like to take a few minutes to appreciate you. And when Julia Kennedy and I are preparing for this webcast, it's very helpful to me to look at our list and all the wonderful people that join. Many of you coming back again and again and again. Speaking of our return people, Nick from the historic Biltmore Hotel, Coral Gables, Miami. Wow, here you are once again joining us. Miranda from Ojai Valley Inn and Conference Center and out in California. I think this is 2 or 3 times we've seen you on our list. Jackie from Prime Vacations. I hope the dates work out that we're holding for you to come back in September to train your contact center. And I believe we're training actually the hospitality staff this round. And it'll be wonderful to see you again. We have Elizabeth from Glenn's Ocean Beach. Thank you for joining us last month on our hospitality topic. And we hope to get a chance to come out and visit you. So many returners. Jason, Marco Escapes. It's been a while, man. Have me back. Love to see you. I see Gabriel and several others from Nizuc Resort. I'll be seeing you in September. It's going to be fun to come back and visit you. Janice and Katie from Sun Realty Vacations in the Outer Banks. You're always with us. Thank you. You're with me and you're my heart every day too. And a lot of new people. We have Kirby from Newman Daily Vacation Rental. Patrick from Westmont Hospitality. Wow. Thank you for coming. I don't know if it was you that got the word out, but we see about, I think, 8 people from Westmont Hospitality Group. Would love to talk to you about doing a private program for your hotel group as well. Now we have a lot of clients, a lot of attendees from Mexico. We have some clients, Karen and team from Viceroy Los Cabos, and would be great to work you in next time that I'm down that way. And we also have some new people. Moises, I don't believe you've been with us before, from the Westin Puerto Vallarta. I was just there almost exactly 1 month ago to train the Conrad Punta de Mita, where I flew into Puerto Vallarta. So I'd love to see you in a future visit. Cass Kassam from Phoenix, from Kassam Consulting. Cass, my friend, how long have we known each other? You're an expert in this field, and yet you signed up for my class on the webcast. Thank you. Laura from Hill Country Premier in Texas Hill Country. Thank you for signing up. Our heart goes out to you, your work family, your clients, your neighbors, and the terrible tragedy in Hill Country. So I don't know if you're live or watching on recording. No, a lot of us have been thinking about you and our other clients in that region that we reached out to directly. So international folks, Laverne from Sail Rock Resorts, Turks and Caicos. We have another client in Turks and Caicos, but their reservations are off-site. So I have never been, but I would love to go there. You know, it's been Caribbean month for the last few weeks for me now. This previous week, I headed out on Saturday to work with the Round Hill Hotel and Villas in Jamaica, which was amazing. If you want to see a truly iconic property that's hosted on A-list celebrities forever. And then I came back for about 3 hours, and then I flew out to the Hilton Barbados. So I love to come to Turks and Caicos. Let's see, we have some other Caribbean folks here too. Oh yes, Anise, St. Lucia Bay Gardens. How lovely it would be to come back to your country. I've been there for Viceroy Sugar Beach and also Windjammer Landing. It would be great to work with you. All right, who is left that I have not shouted out? I think I got everybody here. Heather from Exceptional Stays with us again, and I think that covers it. So we have now, most of you who are going to join live are with us. Let's get started on our topic today, 10 practical action steps for securing more direct voice bookings. Now, by the way, a lot of what we're going to talk about also applies to multi-channel selling through digital textual communication, email, in-app messaging, or if you have chat. We're going to use the term voice direct reservation sales today. Now, we have, starting our topic today, to try to bust out that rumor that voice is a dying distribution channel. Now, it has shrunk for many markets, and it probably will continue to shrink over time, but the predictions of its demise have been overly stated, and they continue to be. So I'm going to give you some hard evidence of that by groups like McKinsey Research. But let's talk about how long I've been hearing this. This is a photo of me a couple of years after I started in the training business. This photo was taken around 1992. I'd been 3 years in a hotel trainer. You can see on my flip chart, by the way, printed flip charts. Aren't you impressed? Yeah. Well, I had messy handwriting, so I had to print them. Primary closing techniques. This came from our first reservation sales training class, which I had a very creative, innovative name. It was called Reservation Sales Training. And I presented that under the name of my company name. Check-in training, check-in with 2 N's, get it? I thought it was clever at the time at our marketing focus group, which consisted of me as the only employee. Then a few years later, I merged with another company. I created a partnership, and we became HSA International, which by the end we had 45 employees and offices in Frankfurt, Germany, and a franchise office there and one in Singapore. And Expert, and that was, by the way, let's say 91 through 2003. During that whole time, experts have predicted the demise as long as I've been in the business. Now, some of the theories, some of the premises that were told, first of all, in the mid-90s, once everyone gets a computer at home, they're gonna all book online. This is actually very similar to my very first PC. It was actually the IBM, I think it was called PC, and with a floppy disk. It was no longer floppy, it was the little square plastic ones. And people said, as soon as everyone gets a computer, no one's gonna book by phone anymore. Doug, better go find a new job. Then in the early 2000s, the first Android smartphone, 2004, the iPhone came to us in 2007. It seems like only yesterday, but for a lot of us. And then the pundits said, soon everyone will have a smartphone in their pocket and no one will ever call anymore. And this is when you saw the big push by brands to roll up reservations into cluster offices, and then eventually to call centers, and eventually to outsource those call centers in many cases. The 20 teens and the 2020s, the early 2020s, now the word is younger people, they grew up with technology. They hate human interactions. They will never call. So here we go again. And then as yet, we still have people call. We still have people calling. And where is customer care in 2024? Now this is 1 year, a little over a year old now, but it is some research from a really well-known company called McKinsey & Company. And if you know about research, in consumers. McKinsey, JD Power, Deloitte, these are the big names. They actually do legit research. And I came across this last year, and so I have some hard data for you. McKinsey and Company says Gen Z consumers are picking up the phone. Okay, now it says boomers are using digital chat and AI technologies are reshaping call centers, but they also talk about it's a blending of channels. So don't believe that if you've been to my webcast or if you watch them on YouTube or hear us on Spotify, you know I often talk about the generational myth of imaginary generations, which is started by the Strauss-Howe generational theory in their book Generations. To me, you know, this is all overstated. If you do follow my articles in a newsletter, about 3 months ago, I quoted a researcher from Germany, a professor, a doctorate out there, who did research and found out that people of all generations are using technology before. So the whole idea that young people are always on their phones is a painful myth. But let's check this out, because we're all on our phones, by the way. In a recent survey of 3,500 consumers, respondents of all ages said that live phone conversations were among the most preferred methods of contacting companies for help and support. That finding still held true in the 18 to 28-year-old Gen Z consumers, which are born from 1996 to 2010, a cohort, a group that favors text and social messaging for interpersonal communications. So let's see what they said. There's evidence that younger consumers are getting tired of digital self-service. Anyone else feeling that way? In fact, one financial services company that's talked about more in this report said that Gen Z consumers are 30 to 40% more likely to call than the millennial age group, okay? And they use the telephone as often as baby boomers, okay? And so if you're in the luxury segment, if you're in the upscale segment, when I look at our list of the people I shouted out today, many, if not most of you, are in upscale, luxury, boutique, hotels, or vacation rental, and the vacation rental clients are tending to be the ones selling the larger homes, the longer stays, the larger parties, okay? So in the premium segment, customers of all ages prefer the phone, with many saying live support is part of the premium service they're paying for. All right. Now, the latest thing is AI chatbot, because we'd all prefer to talk to an AI chatbot, and AI is learning to have heartfelt conversations. When I read that in the trade magazines for hotels and lodging, and they say, oh, AI today has more emotion in their voice, okay? I'm sorry, I'm just not going to feel that warm fuzzy when a computer says, thank you for calling, Mr. Kennedy. Please have a wonderful vacation and thank you for your loyalty to the Kennedy Resort Hotel. Okay, it just don't give me that warm fuzzy, but an actual human conversation does. Now, let's talk about the reality here today. Despite all the myths from the 90s, the aughts, the 2010s, and the 2020s, and so it is, reservations and front desk for smaller properties continue to ring. In fact, a recent trend we've had is mid-market, upper mid-scale hotels where they don't have reservations, where you have all the calls being taken at the front desk, all of a sudden are interested in training for booking more sales. And they're also hiring Kennedy Training Network team to do telephone mystery shopping for them. So finally, people realize maybe we should talk to our customers. All right, now, let's talk about some facts here. By the way, in this webcast, we're going to give 5 tips for the leaders and 5 tips for the staff for maximizing more direct voice bookings. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. Now, why have online bookings decreased for some companies? Really? I'm sorry, online bookings. Oh, that's actually a typo. Why have voice bookings decreased for some companies and online bookings have grown? It's actually not some companies as well. It's really all companies. So surely the percentage of online bookings has grown tremendously and voice has declined. Now, there's a few reasons for that, and I'm going to state right up front, obviously repeat guests might book online. Obviously, guests that have short stays for low profile trips that has a low intention. For example, I'm going to Atlanta tomorrow night on a business trip. I'm not going to go and call 3 different hotels. I'm probably going to go to online. I might look at a brand.com, but I also am going to check an OTA and I'm going to book a room based on location and price. However, let's talk about when people do call. I also want to point out that the changes lodging companies have made may have caused voice bookings to decline. So let us take a closer look on why direct call bookings has decreased. All right, for one, an over-reliance on costly OTAs. My company, HSA International, on the early 2000s, actually on the day of 9/11, I was flying on an airplane. I left at 8:30 that morning to fly to September 11th, 2001, to fly to New York to meet with Starwood, and my ticket continued later that day to go to Washington, D.C. to meet with Marriott. And at that time, we all know what happened. Thankfully, my plane turned around, landed in Atlanta, and I drove home with some other passengers on the very last rental car, I think, that was available in the whole airport. But there was literally almost no bookings for 2 to 3 months, and it was a slow rise back. At that time, my company, HSA International, did training to tell people how to sell at a very little known website called Expedia, which had, I think at the time, still owned by Microsoft. Maybe they had just sold it. And it was a place to go and sell rooms. And it was a fenced channel, meaning a lot of people did not know about it. It was a secret little place to basically dump some inventory in a fire sale mode. But now, of course, where industry can be overly reliant on that. Now, an OTA can be a good partner. We always train our clients, OTAs are not the enemy, but when a guest calls directly, we want to get that booked. Because if not, many hotels end up doing special promotions, higher commissions, special deals to get on the Expedia to get, or booking.com, or their subsidiaries and partners to appear in the first search results. That costs even more. And after a while, it becomes an addiction to that channel. Outsourcing to improperly trained, under-resourced call center reps, not the fantastic people at Travel Outlook who invest in the training, that have an extensive onboard training, that include KTN, that do a great job. And by the way, on our call scoring, their average score is in the 90s. Our requirement is 85% for certification. However, a lot of the call center companies are outsourcing, offshoring, nearshoring. They're not training people. They're working in a very high scripted environment. We had one major brand that I cannot mention due to an NDA that actually had their criteria was basically all about a quick call. Answer the call. They did not get the caller's name. They got the dates, number of people. We did manage to get them to talk a few items in, like recommending the room category and asking for the sale. But there was no discussion, none of the things we're talking about today. Rush, 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 get that booking, okay? And that was the brand call center, okay? So under-resourced, and it's not their fault. Making it difficult to even find a phone number. This is, at brands have done this. There's one major brand that still uses a vanity number where you have to take the letters and transcribe it on your keypad. We had one client in the Bahamas, a prospective client we met with, that was concerned that they weren't getting that many voice calls anymore, and went to their website, and to do the telephone, to find the number, when you click the phone number, to get the phone number, you have to fill out an inquiry form with several mandatory fields. And I said, don't you think that's a barrier to having people call you? This was a boutique, I would say upscale resort. Don't you think that's a barrier? They said, oh, well, our digital marketing company said it helps to get more direct bookings. Yeah, but make it difficult for people to call. Where's your phone number? Okay, where is it on your website? Have you done an audit? I'm going to give you some tips on that. Now, when you call two major brands, and I don't want to pick on them because a lot of them are my clients too on that brand, you call them, call major brand call center 800 numbers, and there's at least two, and I haven't called the other ones in a while, that actually say, thank you for calling brand.com. Did you know the best way to book a reservation is at brand.com website? One of them actually says, would you like us to text you a link? Now, did they ever stop to consider where people go to get the phone number for brand.com? So that you call the number and it tells you to go back online. Interesting. Now, the real factors that cause people of all ages, a lot of us, this whole generational myth, boomers, we're really good with tech, okay? I can work a website really well because we grew up, we had to learn with tech as tech evolved. We know what to do. Granny has an iPad, okay? She can book online too. But why do people of all ages call? Why do younger people call? It is FOMO and FOMO, all right? Why do they call? When the major driver, and if you look at our registration list today, is people who sell to people who are planning more emotionally engaged in their travel experience. They're more emotionally engaged with their travel experience that they're planning. So let me give you some examples of what I mean by that. It's not based on age. It's not based on the stereotypes we've been sold on. It is basically these factors. The higher the rates. So if you're selling a higher rate, meaning upscale, luxury, boutique, and not economy. Although people at economy lodging segments still call, but they're more likely to call with higher rates, longer stays, 3 nights, 4 nights, 5 nights. The longer stays, people are spending more time there. They're going to have more questions and concerns. They're also spending more money. More people in their traveling party. So that is FOMO, which is fear of missing out, but FOMO is fear of messing up. If you're the one in charge of your planning, you do not want to be the one that everyone's complaining to, like, why did you pick this place if something goes sideways? Okay. So the more people in the party, the more complex the travel needs. If you have a baby, an elderly person, a special needs person, if you have a mother-in-law who's very particular, or you have a father-in-law that's a little cranky, or someone in the party that is has special needs, and if they have bedding requests and they want configurations or they want rooms blocked close together, questions like that. But most importantly, the most reason they're likely to press that click to call button, they are emotionally connected to their travel plans. And that's why people of all ages will call, okay? So I'm going to give now my 5 suggestions for the leaders, whether you're operations, marketing, revenue, and then I'm going to share 5 suggestions for the people who actually have the voice conversations. Are you ready? Let's dig in. Number 1, before we get, actually this is a preview, leaders. Before we review your 5 suggestions, calculate the most important metric for reservation sales teams. So before we review the rest of these, the very first one is this number right here. Now in revenue management today, we have so many metrics in revenue and distribution, and there seems to be more every day that people are looking at as we get access to more data. That means more metrics, more benchmarks. Here's one though that my dear friends in revenue management, many of them do not know this number, and it is the most important one to put in your reservations office or wherever they're taking the calls from. Maybe they're working at home, maybe they're working at the desk. If you are at a call center and joining us today, get your team thinking about this, okay? And that is the potential value of every reservation inquiry. So here's your metric right here. You can do a screenshot if you want. The total revenue booked for the previous year, preferably separated by direct, not including group or extranets, wholesale travel partners, but if necessary, use the overall number. But total revenue in transient or social business. If you're a vacation rental, basically all of your business is in that sector. So total revenue for the previous year divided by the total number of bookings for the previous year, okay? So again, vacation rental total revenue divided by total bookings, hotel total transient revenue divided by total number of transient bookings. And that will give you the average revenue per booking. Why do we want that number? Because it's going to help everyone stay focused. And speaking of staying focused, I'm going to now turn off my phone so it will stop pinging, okay? Power off. So revenue divided by bookings, that will give you the number. Now, some of you think we could just take average daily rate times average lengths of stay, okay, if you have a number year round. But if you try to go by your incidental knowledge, it's hard to factor in. And a lot of my clients, when we do this in the training class, they say, well, in the winter, we charge $1,000 a night in a warm climate resort. In the summer, it's $200 a night, okay? Well, you can't just average in the middle because your hotel generates most of its revenue in the peak season. Summer resorts, same thing. You might charge $1,000 in the summer and $200 in the winter, and then most of your business is going to be in the summer. So this is why this number is really important. If I ran your hotel or your rental company, I would have this number posted in the office on perhaps on mouse pads, everywhere prominently, so you could give people a reminder. Now, why is the voice channel so important? It generally has the highest ADR, average daily rate, okay, because people can upsell. When we talk to them, we can be more successful. It has the highest rev per available guest, or rev pack, revenue per available customer. Why? Because we can cross-sell, okay? When someone calls Nizuc Resort, one of the most lovely hotels in the entire world, and I can't wait to be back next month, you have a chance to sell your amazing Nizuc Spa, the iconic award-winning food and beverage experiences. Many of you on the call today have your own transportation companies, so you can actually sell that. We also have the lower distribution costs, thanks to my friend Will Perry. We're going to look at that in a moment. If you look at complaints, now I would love to have somebody do a white paper on this, but look at the 1-star reviews and then compare those with Booking Channel. But anecdotally, many of us know the people who book online are the ones that tend to have the biggest complaints, okay, because we never talk to them. Also, a stronger connection and increased guest loyalty. Put very simply, we get their email address. If you don't talk to them and they come through a third party, including perhaps depending on your brand through brand.com, you may not get that email address unless you ask for it at check-in. All right, so additional suggestions, we're still on the first one. When you consider the importance of the potential revenue and that reservation agents are the gatekeepers of the first impression makers, why wouldn't you want to talk to them? So think about that. Think about the amount of revenue coming in here, especially, again, some of the people I gave shout outs to, the average revenue per booking. Why would you hide your phone number? Why would you outsource this to a call center other than Travel Outlook, which actually will do an amazing job? Why would you outsource this to a cheap call center that's going to give you seemingly a lower cost for doing that? Why would you put a contact us form that requires someone to submit an email before they can even make an inquiry? Why wouldn't you want to talk to them? Okay. Now let's actually look at a few other things here. Number 2, audit your website and your digital marketing promotions, leaders. Take a look. And are you encouraging people to do a voice inquiry at the top of the marketing funnel? Okay. So my suggestion, post your number prominently, your direct phone number, add website copy that says direct or on-site reservations number, okay? Now, I've suggested this to a lot of companies, and what I've finally come to realize, it is perhaps the website developers that are using preset templates that it's hard to actually change the text of what it says when you enter your phone number. But I have a few clients that have done this and have done it really well. So Majestic Resorts, which has 3 lovely resorts in Punta Cana and currently 1 in Costa Mujeres with another on the way. They actually added this recently, in-house call center. They have the US Canada numbers and their Mexico numbers. So when you click on the phone number, there's a pull down menu and it tells you the two different numbers. Also, when you get an email promotion from them, it actually says, have you stayed with Majestic before? Get rewarded with exclusive benefits by calling our call center, okay? And so it lets them know it's an in-house call center, all right? Now, Pacific Terrace Hotel, owned by the Bartel Hotel Group out in San Diego area. This is a AAA 4-diamond beachfront resort. Thanks to Sandra Kaufman, general manager. Shout out to you, Sandra. You've been a client now for 11 years. And it says on their contact us page, the direct number. Now they also put up here the direct number. Not a bad idea to put a local number, okay? Now they have it toll free, but today when someone sees a local number, the perception of the consumer is, oh good, it's going to be actually reaching the hotel, okay? Now, SPI Rentals, vacation rental company down in lovely South Padre Island. Shout out to Will Greenwood. Thank you for your business, Will. They have a couple of different places. Call or text us. Again, a local number. These folks rent amazing beach houses and condos and villas, and they also have it on their, yes, right here. Call us today, okay? So encourage phone calls. Why wouldn't you want to talk to your guests? Think about the revenue potential. Think about the chance to make a first impression. Think of people who book on an OTA and then call with a question, okay? Do you know the OTA washout from the people I speak to could be 20 to 40%. So out of 100 bookings that come in, 20 to 40 cancel and they don't ever come to the hotel. One of the reasons might be how you handle it when they do call with the question. So when people call with just a question and they've already booked on an OTA, why wouldn't you want to have a conversation and at least sustain the online booking that you got? Better to have an OTA booking than no booking, okay? Now, suggestion number 3 for revenue distribution and marketing leaders, document and prove the interplay of your voice and online channel. So our biggest champion that brings in our KTN training for the topic of reservation sales is typically marketing or revenue. Now, we also do hospitality training, we do hotel sales training, but for this topic, it is these folks that bring us in. Now, to get unbudgeted funding, unless they plan in advance, which if you're planning for 2026, give me a shout. We'd love to send you a proposal. But if you want to try to get marketing funding for this, you have to prove value. So I challenge you, if you're not already doing this, to take a look at the interplay of voice and online channels. You have some top leaders that you have to go to for the funding for your department, and they say, well, you know, we're getting all these online bookings, and the only people that call have questions. Well, what I challenge you to do, if you have a call center recording platform like TrackPulse from Track, a TravelNet solution, or if you do use Revenate, SendSquared, one of the other companies, RingCentral, Avoxy, you can actually pull 20 online direct website bookings. So select maybe 20 bookings where people booked through your website, where you've asked them to put in a phone number. Take that phone number and look that up in your call logging system. Some of you might even have access to your 800 toll-free provider, may give a downloadable or cloud-based file where you can search to see if someone called. So take the website booking telephone number and look it up in the records of who called you. And what you will see is that people, especially if you have larger accommodations, longer stays, people call either before booking or they call right after booking online. So the idea that those reservations just show up without any human interaction is not always the case. Now, repeat guests, maybe so. And again, mid-scale properties, short stays, branded properties that they're not emotionally dialed into, that's a different story. But if you're selling luxury vacation homes or you're selling luxury hotel rooms, a lot of people call before booking. All right. Now, tip number 4 for revenue distribution and marketing, your secret sauce. Give your team the secret weapon, rather, for outselling the OTA. A special discount off a published rate, possibly, or an extra amenity or service. Okay. So if you're a traditional hotel, this might be a room upgrade or honor their specific room request. Okay. So this is something a traditional hotel can do, because you can either give them a free upgrade. Now, a lot of times revenue managers, we have to oversell the minimum category to create price elasticity and try to generate demand. When there's moderate to low demand, we throw some specials out there for the minimum category. And so we can sometimes give an upgrade or throw in an amenity, and without costing us anything, because we'd have to upgrade them anyway. If you're a vacation home rental company, you may be able to give a special discount off a published rate. And the reason is vacation rental companies, most of you, mark up that price of the OTA booking, which hotels don't generally do. Hotels, we want to have rate parity. So the rate is going to show for $300 a night on an OTA and $300 a night website direct. Most of the OTAs, unless you're in Europe, they require rate parity. I believe in Europe, the EU passed legislation disallowing that. So vacation rental, we can say, oh, may I place you on hold just a moment? Oh, tell you what, if you can book directly today, here's what I can do for you. Okay, so you can actually offer the discount rate. Number 5 tip for suggestions for our leaders: properly staff for direct bookings. All right, now this is a situation where track those voice bookings by time of day and day of week, because the situation is you may not really know, unless you track them, what time your calls are coming in, how long the calls last. That's why I think Track Pulse has the perfect name. Track the pulse of your voice channel. And if you actually take a look, you will find the call volume may not conform to your traditional staffing models, okay, which in reservations might be 8 to 4, 9 to 5. Maybe you have a staggered person. On the other hand, maybe you're scheduling someone till 9 o'clock and you're not getting very many after hours calls, okay? But if the thing to do maybe, instead of hiring more staff, is to cross-train others to assist during peak times. Now, our vacation home rental agencies, I love it when we ask the question, we're setting up the training, we're setting up the mystery shopping or call scoring, say how many people take calls? Everyone. So they have their primary call takers, and then they have other people backed up to take those calls. So again, why wouldn't you talk to a customer that's going to book thousands of dollars? Traditional hotels, on the other hand, if you have a separate reservations team, are there others who could back them up? Maybe a salesperson, maybe possibly front desk, maybe managers, maybe other people, either that when someone is sick or we just have an unexpected surge in call volume. Why wouldn't we want to cross-train other people to assist so those calls do not go unanswered? Now, in order to properly staff, you have to also look at what else are your team doing. So these are highly skilled salespeople, right? And yet we have them doing a lot of other admin work. Rather than outsourcing the sales part, if you do need help and you're in a market that is difficult to hire local talent, and a lot of people are going with virtual staff options. So there's a lot of great companies. If you need the names of some, we can tell you 3 that we do training for, and they actually have delightful, wonderful people that have tremendous work ethic and reliability, and you can hire them for at or possibly slightly below the cost of hiring someone in your market. And if there's no one to hire in your market, the other good thing is, because they're on the other side of the planet, they are available, in the evenings to do the work for us. So rather than outsource the some of the manual entry of reservations, rooms control, researching chargebacks, admin work for OTAs. But a lot of this falls on reservations. So make sure that we look at not only how many calls they're getting, how long the calls are, what time the calls are taking in, but it takes a lot of time for these issues. Are there other people in our company that could do this? Vacation home rental companies, service calls from those who booked online but have questions. Moving bookings, when an owner of a home sells the home, you have to move that booking. Homeowner calls, people that own the homes. Now, if you're at a hotel, you might not understand the vacation rental agency is largely driven by vacation rental industry is VRBO, vacation rental by owner, is not really the right name for that platform because the majority of the inventory is sold by agencies, okay? So they're gonna have people that own the homes. At a hotel, we usually have one owner, or maybe it's a REIT and there's an asset manager. If you have 200 vacation rental homes or close to 1,000 like Sun Realty, you have 800 owners. Some of our clients, some people I know in this industry have the contact center at Reservations taking calls from the homeowners. Is there another way to handle that? Calls and texts from in-house guests and admin work for OTA bookings, all right? So I know I promised 5 tips for revenue and distribution marketing, but I've got a 6th one for you, and that is to advocate for a staff incentive plan. Even a simple bucks for bookings can have a huge impact. Now, usually the managers are all for it. I'm pretty sure any hourly staff workers here are all for an incentive. Now, being fair to the ownerships, there are companies that pay a very nice salary and that reward you in other ways by giving you health insurance, which is very expensive. So if you're not getting an incentive, think about the company you work for. Maybe they're paying you in other ways. But an incentive is different. Incentive is different than commission. Okay, commission is just you pay on every single booking. But really, that's our job as an hourly worker in the reservation sales team. But an incentive is when we go above and beyond and we exceed that goal. And that's usually when revenue managers, you can get approved. But even at a simple bucks for bookings, I want to encourage you, the revenue and marketing people, to advocate for this in the next meeting. All right. So what is the cost of that online booking directly at your website even? Thanks to my friend Will Perry, who is the owner of partner in a hotel management company, also one of the top minds in consulting for revenue and distribution. We're going to be co-writing an article, so stay tuned to our newsletter for this in the next 2 months on the actual cost of an online booking, all right? Because the finance people, she may not really stop to think about this because you have to dig deep to get the numbers. But these are the most significant and varying costs might be these. A direct website booking coming into a hotel via the CRS booking engine or even to the channel partners in vacation home rental industry. Now, according to Will's estimate, it could be as simple as a $1 to $4 per booking, but it may be 1 to 4%. So when your reservation is coming through those CRS online that's powering your online websites, there's a significant cost that can add up. Now, if you're a hotel selling through the GDS systems, okay, it could be $10 to $25 more per booking if it's made by the travel agent through their GDS system, all right? Those include the pass-through rates. So think about this. The travel agent called you directly, get the IATA number, book it directly. You not only did you get a booking, but you saved some significant distribution costs. According to Will, also the pass-through and channel connect fees. Again, our channel management partners, a smaller fee charged by the CRS for simply passing a reservation from the OTA into your PMS system. In addition to that OTA commission, okay, you're going to be paying per booking. Will estimates $1 to $5. So think about advocating for a reservations incentive if it's properly structured, if you don't already have. All right, team on the sales side, 5 suggestions for those of you who actually answer the calls or to those who manage them if you're a manager today attending. First of all, take pride in your important role. Remember, you actually work for the power plant that produces currency known as dollars, pesos, euros, okay? And you are part of the commercial strategy team. One of the things I always talk about when I train on-site hotels, last week at the Hilton in Barbados and the Round Hill Hotel in Jamaica, the first thing is, how many people work here? It might be 100, well, a smaller hotel, but think about the number of people that work there. At the one place I was, it was 250, and there's 10 people on the commercial team. Hotel sales, wedding and event sales, those that sell to tour operators and wholesalers, and reservations. Those 10 people power the jobs of 250. So take pride in that. Now, next tip, turn those quick questions into conversations that lead to conversions. Again, if you've been with me this year in our 31 webcasts to date, we do have talked about this a lot. So many people, their question is disguise. He's in disguise. I just have a quick question. I have nothing better to do with my time than to call up a bunch of hotels and ask quick questions. I don't want to make a reservation. I just have a question, right? I was just wondering, okay? Are they really just curious about those specific dates? Do you get these questions? I don't want to book. I just want to know the rates. I was just wondering. These people have better things to do than to call, all right? They're shopping online. They're shopping on their phone. In fact, when I ask the staff actually working the phones, I say, how often do you get this question? Hello, where are you? Are you actually on site? Okay. So, and then they have a quick question. Now, we've been training this as part of our Reservation Sales Quest course. This is available as an on-site training. It's also available as a private live webcam training. It's available as an online course. In our 2025 version, we added this as a key focus of the training. And we started doing the 2025 version over 1 year ago, almost a year ago, fall of late last year. And we're now hearing, as we score calls for people that have Track Pulse, Revenate Navis, Send Squared, Ring Central, we hear agents who are asking this question, who are using this technique, and we're hearing people say, oh, you actually could check the rates? So the verbiage that we train is for those who answer the calls, always ask, always say and ask, now that I've answered your question, Mr. Kennedy, have you made a reservation yet? Can I double check the best rates for you? What website are you seeing that rate at? So again, when we have trained clients to do this in almost the last, almost a year now, and we hear this in the scoring of real conversations, we hear a lot of delighted callers who say, oh, you could check rates? You want to say, yeah, I work in reservation, but you know, maybe they think they're reaching someone off-site, or maybe they think you're just there with a question, okay, to answer the question. Now, number 2, proactively and voluntarily mention that you are with the direct reservations team. In my classes every week, I have people grab an imaginary flag and I say, wave your flag. I'm with direct reservations, okay? The way you want to voluntarily mention that, okay? Because as, again, the evidence is all those people who say, where are you? And they want to know that it's a direct reservation. So if you're with direct, in-house, or on-site, you can say that. Let me check to make sure that we've got the very best rates for you, okay? Now, if you are at a call center, for example, Travel Outlook, we train them on this because they get that question, hello, you're not at some call center, are you? Oh, actually, I'm in a different building, but I sell directly for this hotel or company. Just say you're in a different building, okay? But emphasize that, oh, I'm in a different location, but I sell directly for this company. How can I help you? Okay, so be prepared, train your staff to be prepared. If you are the people taking the calls, prepare for this answer, to answer this very tough question. Tip number 3, to help those callers that have fear of missing out or fear of messing up, okay? One of the things we can do is use needs-based recommendations, suggestions, and endorsements to reassure them that this is the best option, this is the best rate, and now is the best time, okay? So again, we talked about this. There's other webcasts on all of these topics so far. We did a 40-minute segment on the importance, which included the importance of visually descriptive phrasing to tell people what they're going to experience and recommend, suggest, endorse. Okay. Tip number 4, use updated versions of traditional reservations options. So this webcast is entitled 5 questions that your reservation team should be asking, but I'm going to give you the short version right now. Be sure to, hopefully you're at least having your team say, have you stayed with us before? Hopefully you're already asking that if you're a reservation salesperson, but a better version is to say, okay, Mr. Kennedy, and as I'm checking those dates, have you stayed with us before, or did anything at our website catch your attention, catch your eye? And now we take someone that has been shopping online and they tell us which category or which option they're looking at. That really helps us know where to start. One of the hotels that I was at recently, a branded hotel, core brand, had 15 tiles that show up when you did a search for dates. That's 15 room categories represented by a tile on the website. It gets overwhelming. You say, have you stayed with us before? Did anything online catch your attention? And they say, actually, I'm looking at the deluxe corner ocean view. And then you know where to start. You can still upsell them, or you can fade if necessary. Okay. Also, are you traveling on business or pleasure? This is a standard question at hotels that are in urban and suburban locations. Or for resort clients, traditionally we have trained them to say, what brings you to this town or city or area or country, if it's a small country. But a better thing to say is there anything special you're planning during your visit I can assist you with? Now, then they're going to tell you, oh, it's actually for my wife's birthday. It's my partner's just recovered from a medical condition. It's my child's 10th birthday. It's our 25th anniversary. Or we're celebrating a girls' trip. And so not only do you find out the purpose of the trip, but you then plant the seed that, hey, we can sell an experience here, okay? You may have noticed what Airbnb is doing. About 1 month ago, they announced Airbnb experiences. They want to become the one-stop shopping for the entire experience. TripAdvisor started Viator. I own a very small amount of TripAdvisor stock, and I get all the information. They're actually thinking of changing their name to Viator, which is their tour operator, okay? And so people want to buy experiences, not just rent a room, especially in upscale, luxury, boutique, destination type hotels where you go to spend your time there. Let's help them. If we don't, depending on how you're set up there, maybe you have a concierge or you have a guest experience that takes over, but at least we say, hey, anything special I can plan? Actually, yes, it's a girls' trip. We want to take, it's my sisters and I, we're going to take our mom for a spa trip. Oh, wonderful. Our spa is amazing. In fact, after we set up your reservation, I can transfer you to Justine over at the spa. She's going to take great care of you. And then finally, our last suggestion for those who actually answer the calls, follow up proactively by offering to send that email to everyone you speak with. This is a chance for you to reach through this computer screen and to have them receive something personal from you, okay? So now we did not cover in this class, but again, previous webcasts, future webcasts talk about securing the sale, overcoming resistance, create urgency. May I secure that for you, Mr. Kennedy? Oh no, I'm not quite ready. I have to first check on my flights. Well, just to let you know, availability is limited. We could lock this in now, and then if you had to, you could always call back to cancel after you book your flights. Well, I'm still not ready, okay? Now this is where you want to offer proactively to send an email, okay? And then what are we going to say? Mr. Kennedy, just to let you know, I can send you our direct contact information here at in-house, on-site, if you are Reservations. So, all right then, Mr. Kennedy, before I let you go, let me just get your email address so I can send you our direct contact information here at in-house, on-site Reservations, because we'd love to assist you with finalizing your plans, okay? Now, if you're a contact center, you may not have that callback. You're probably not going to have the same person call back by name, but you can say any of our, let me at least send you our direct contact information, and we're open 24 hours. Anyone here can assist you. Feel free to ask for me, but anyone in my team can assist you. All right. So however your operation is set up, why would you not want to send a follow-up email? Think about how much money you spent directly for pay-per-click, to get someone to click on an ad, to go to your website, to see a phone number and call you. Think about how much money you spent to have your marketing department or your in-house marketing person put together an email promotion, send it out through your subscription to MailChimp, Constant Contact, or the other Revenate, other companies that do email promotions. And why would you not, when someone calls, want to send that follow-up, to reach through and say, I'd be happy to assist you personally, okay? So those are 5 tips for the direct reservation salespeople. As we round the corner here, first of all, thank you to everyone who turns out. We had a lot of repeaters on today's webcast. I'm very grateful that you take out your time to either show up live with us or to reach out and watch us through the webcast. 10 practical action steps for securing more direct bookings. So thank you. These are our upcoming. In August, we have Cooking Up New Hotel Sales. And then in September, we have Creating Extraordinary Hospitality Encounters Daily. So much emphasis is on the wow training, the creating that unforgettable moment. But this webcast focuses on every interaction every day, making everything special. If you have not already joined us on our Spotify and YouTubes, we hope that you will look for us there. And also at our YouTube channel, you can find Kate's training tip. You can find our podcast on Spotify. Please keep us in mind for on-site training, private live webcam training, conference speaking if you're planning a management conference, mystery shopping, or if you record calls, recordings of scoring recorded calls or email exchanges, and our private live webcam training and coaching. So thank you everyone, to our listeners that are live today, and I see a lot of you are still with us right now. Thank you for staying till the very end, even after our wrap-ups. And for those of you who are watching remotely, please come back and check us out again. Our next webcast will be in 30 days. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your week. And thank you for joining our KTN webcast series.